we going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Happy New Year.
How was today at Fieldhouse?
It was good. Good energy. Yeah, good energy.
Good energy on the silence from you on the mic'd up. How did you like that?
I don't like seeing myself or hearing myself, so not a big fan.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Not you.
I can get both ways. I get that.
He was coy about whether or not he's going to play on Sunday, but what is the potential return of a guy like Milton be to what you guys want to get done on the defensive side?
Yeah, I mean, he brings a lot of value. Athleticism, playmaking ability. So anytime you get a player like that back, if he's back, then obviously adds a lot of value to our defense and able to do maybe a few more things that maybe we've done in the past without him.
What did you kind of know about him before and then going through the season with him, the way he's kind of led the defense? What's it been like to be around him?
Around Milton? Yeah, I mean, I just knew him as a, on the outside and watching him with the Eagles. He was a disruptor, explosive, really good pass rusher, uses his hands well. And then when he got here, you saw he's about his business. He's a professional. You saw how bad he wanted, results, team success, and, personal success. And he was pretty driven by that. Anytime you get a guy that, loves winning, and you can even tell, working with him throughout the year, he doesn't get complacent. He knows there's always things to work on. And you just love that. Even when we were kind of on a winning streak, you could tell he was never satisfied with the product that, he put out there or we put out there, which is what you want. You always want to stay hungry. It's good to have that type of guy in the locker room.
Yeah, the team just got to sign Kobe Minor for the 53. What have you seen from Kobe throughout this season?
Man, Kobe works his tail off. An extreme competitor, which is why I love him. When he's on the dirty show, the dirty defense, giving the look. I mean, he's competing. He's competing with everybody there. Mac, Diggs, whatever. He's not backing down. He brings a decently physical style play at the corner position, and he's just gotten better throughout the year, throughout the weeks. So I think it's well deserved.
Seen Eric Gregory playing more snaps for Snooks too. What's he done to make the most of his opportunities?
Doing his job. He's really bought into that, of taking pride in his job, improving his technique, his pad level. You see him improve upon his mistakes, not a ton of same mistakes. And I think that's just earned him more playing time because of that, more reliable.
In yours, what are you seeing the film study?
Yeah, I don't think he has any fear. He got thrown to the fire, and I didn't see him bat an eye at it. He was a gunslinger in college. You still see some of that in the game tape. Like, he's not afraid to try to fit a ball in a window. He doesn't play hesitant. You can tell he's still getting the reps. Like I said, it's kind of late when he started, but he's definitely, if he feels like he has all the confidence in the world in himself and his arm, and he'll fit a tight window. He'll let his guys make a play, even when, maybe it's not, open. He'll throw it up and give his guys a shot. So he's handling the situation pretty well for this late in the season as a rookie.
How valuable has Jack Gibbons been for you guys, especially with no Roberts playing and maybe some additional responsibilities that he's had to take on recently?
Yeah, Gibby is extremely invaluable to our defense. He's reliable, smart, hardworking, always thinking the game. Like, he had great conversation on the sideline. Hey, this is what I'm seeing. Hey, what about this? This is how they're blocking this. Hey, you want me to do this? Brings good ideas, but also 100% like, hey, Gibby, this is how we're doing it. Absolutely. He buys into everything we do. He's the same way in Tennessee. Very consistent. And I could go on here for about 30 minutes and talk about Gibby. Just reliable, trustworthy, hardworking. He was a game captain for a reason, and nobody batted an eye at that. They all understood that.
Coach, do you appreciate that as a coach?
Of him being named a game captain?
Just everything that
Oh, yeah. I mean, you love that, position flex, versatility. Hey, Gibby, we need you to do this week. Absolutely. Whatever you need me to do. huge into team success. He knows that brings on individual success. Fully bought in. Yeah, you love that as a coach.
Christian was with him, game captain, double game captain.
Yep.
Just because you had a couple maybe regular captains down. Or
Right. Yep. And then Alice has gotten better each week, and I think he's deserved that as well. Yeah.
Jalen Hawkins, Verbal was talking about how some of the special teams coaches were, saying how selfless he is and how they really needed him on special teams last year. Obviously, he hasn't played that as much this year, but what have you seen from him on defense from like a selfless standpoint, and why is he a good fit for this defense?
Man, a lot. I mean, one, he's gotten some ball production this year, right? Obviously, love that. But almost to the point of Gibby a little bit of he's fully bought in. He's a physical player, brings, if not the most, great energy every single day in the building. On the practice field, he's a guy that constantly relays the message throughout the week, 100% bought into the message or the plan, executes to the best of his ability, flies around, great communicator, loud. I think, he got his opportunity and he was like, I'm keeping on to this thing. I'm holding on to this. And just taking advantage of every snap. He treats every snap like it's, it could be his last snap. He treats every play like it's the most important play of the game. And you love that about him. And he's a true leader on the field and just feeding off his energy.
Did he surprise you at all? I know he wasn't really a big name coming into the season. I don't think you'd worked with him before.
No, I didn't know much about Hawk before I got here. But from day one, like even OTAs, even we were just kind of, in the walkthrough periods on the field, like the first OTAs, and we kind of just line up against barrels, just hearing how loud he communicated and constantly repeated things and asking questions, you knew he was going to compete all year round.
Zach, understanding the downs of your best players, Robert, Milton, in recent weeks, I'm curious your thoughts on the run defense, just sort of where you see that right now.
Yeah, and again, I know you're down like, Harold and Robert and Milton, all that, and KT. But it's a next man up mentality. And, the same thing we preach to the guys all year, especially, in the second half of the Jets game. Like, hey, this is what we're trying to tell you. Like, as soon as you're in there, you're preparing to be the starter. Like, all week, you're preparing to be the starter, prepare to be the starter. And, we just got to get, there's a little bit of inexperience that came out there a little bit. But I think it's things we can get fixed. And we just got to continue to get better with our technique and our fundamentals really in the run game.
When it comes to potentially getting those 4 guys back, is that kind of like a seamless transition for them back in? Like, how does that kind of work if you get those guys back, for the playoffs and this week?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the one thing about those guys specifically is they're veterans. They've been through it. A lot of pellets on the wall. So sometimes those guys don't need all those reps. A younger guy, you'd be worried about how he came back just because, really anybody I know, because he might be a little rusty or whatever it may be, but just having those banked reps and understanding how to handle the process when you're not out there, how they handle themselves, like they're still preparing as if they were playing each week, and whether they're out there this week or not, they're preparing. And once they get back on the field, I don't think they're going to, miss a beat on that.
It feels like you guys went through a little bit of a dry spell when it came to takeaways a little bit earlier in the season, but you guys had a couple against the Ravens, a couple against the Jets the last couple of weeks. What are you guys maybe doing differently? Understanding that every game is different, every game plan is different, but maybe are there some commonalities in terms of what you've been doing the last couple of weeks that maybe you weren't doing the previous few?
This gets asked every year, every place. If anybody had the answer to that, it would be everybody would have 50 turnovers a season. I mean, man, turnovers are weird. They come in bunches, like everybody always says. That's the cliche, and it's true. I mean, truly, it's just one, the situation. Are you in a call that might help have more vision on something, or you're not just on the man by yourself and you're worried about just getting tackled? Now you can punch at the ball. what's the focus of it on the player, like during the play. Is he worried about getting the guy down? Is he worried about getting the ball? And then sometimes, you have those where, hey, man, I went for the ball, and he breaks the tackle, and he goes for 60 yards. So, I mean, we focus it. We put great emphasis on it, day in, day out for the whole season, and they just happen to come in bunches at time, in my opinion.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.